hi crew, I thought that I would help you with this assignment by creating a video. So here are some things that you're going to need. You're going to need a pencil. You're going to need colored pencils or crayons, not very many, just a few. And then this map, and then this sheet of directions. Remember that you can always pause the video so you can keep up with me. So the first thing I want to do is I want you to understand that there are these A, B, C, D, E, F on this side, and these numbers are crossed. So these directions over here are going to tell us to look in a box A3. So A3 is here. Here's A, and here's 3. So this is the box that I'm going to use, that I'm going to fill out information in. So it's literally follow a direction, check it off, follow a direction, check it off. It's going to be super easy. Okay, so we're going to get started now. So the first thing says, read all the directions. To label the map, put a check in the box when you have completed the step. So I'm going to put my name up here. And I'm going to put my name right here. So Mrs. Gazzetti knows that I did all my work. And I'm going to read the first direction, which says, which states are included on the grid? So I'm going to help you out. This is a really zoomed in picture of Utah. Here's the top of Utah. So the state that's directly above Utah, directly to the north, is going to be Idaho. And then to the northeast is going to be Wyoming. And then this is Utah. And this tiny little sliver right here directly to our west is going to be Nevada. Done. So I'm going to say the directions for number 2 are find a box, find boxes A3 and A4, and write the name of this state in these boxes. So, oh, you know what state that is? It's Montana. So we have to add Montana to our list. Remember, you can pause so that you can get all the spelling of the states correct. I'm going to check off those directions, and then I'm going to go to number 3. In boxes B2 and B3, write the name of this state. So B2 and B3 are right here. So this is Idaho. So I'm going to write Idaho right there, and then check off the step. Label the state that C5 and C6 are in. So here is C, here's 5 and 6. So this is Wyoming. Check it off. In box F and F5, write the name of this state. So here's F and here's 5. Oh, this is where they want us to write Utah. So we're going to write Utah in that square and then check off the box. By looking at the map and the legend, what types of landforms do you see? So I noticed already that they did not make me label Nevada. If you are like Mrs. Gazzetti and you want to label Nevada, you can go the extra mile and put Nevada right there. So let's read number 6 one more time. By looking at the map and the map legend, what type of landforms do you see? So down here is the map legend, and landforms are going to be the things that are on the land. So is a river on the land? Yes. Is a city on the land? That's not really a landscaped thing. So we're going to skip city, and we're going to skip state capital, and we're going to move on to mountains, lakes and reservoirs, and marsh. So I'm going to write down river, mountains, lakes. I'm just going to write lake and marsh. Are you ready? Here we go. Remember that you can pause your video so that you can take the time that you need to fill out these words. I'm only writing lakes. I'm not going to write reservoir and marsh. That is a terrible H. So moving on to number 7. I forgot my check mark on number 6. What is the large body of water in boxes E2 and E3, F2 and F3? So E2 and E3, F2 and F3. This big body of water here in Utah, do you think you know what it is? It's the Great Salt Lake. So I'm going to fill the Great Salt Lake right there on this island, on this lake. It says label this lake on the map, then color it. All the bodies of water will be the same color. So just like any other map, I'm going to choose blue. So I'm going to get my blue colored pencil out. And today we're going to use this color blue. And I'm going to color in the map. Sorry, not color in the map, color in the water. I'm still using my high quality coloring. I'm going in one direction. I'm not going outside of the lines. I don't have any extra white spaces that I don't need. Set that aside because we're going to be needing it again. And then check that box off. In E3, a river is running into a large lake. Label this river Bear River. Trace the river in the same color you used to color the lake. So I'm going to trace this river in blue. The Bear River comes all the way back through Wyoming, back into Utah, back into Wyoming. It starts up in the Uintas. So there's the Bear River. And now I'm going to just label this Bear River. Now I'm going to label this in a place where I can see that there's a lot of action going on here. There's all these dots, and like there's a marsh there and a lake here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to label the Bear River over here, because I know that I'm going to need space to write in these other areas. So I'm going to turn my paper so that I can label Bear River. And then check it off, which we did. The Bear Lake is found in boxes D4 and E4. So here's D4 and E4. So this is Bear Lake. Label this on the map and then color it. So I am going to say that this is Bear, B-E-A-R, and then I'm going to abbreviate Lake with a capital L and a K. And then I'm going to color it using the same blue color. And then the word Bear Lake is also over here on your map. So if you can't read the Great Salt Lake, or if you can't read Bear Lake, you can get the spelling from right over here. Go ahead and check that off. Using the same color, trace the Snake River that runs from C1 to C4. So here is C1. Oh, look, they've already labeled it for us. I love that. So all we have to do is just trace it. We are not going to treat this like a lake. We're going to treat it like two different arms of the same river where they separate and then come back together. So that is the Snake River. Remember, you can always pause this video if I'm going too fast. Find and trace the Salmon River. in that box, and so there we go, Salmon River. In what boxes does the Salmon River run? Oh, so this runs through this box, which is A1, and this box, which is B1. So we're going to write A1 and B1, and then it says to find and trace, so all I have to do left is to trace. There we go. So Snake River, right here on number 12 is where we are next. It says the Wellsville Mountains are found in E3 and F3. So here's E, 1, 2, 3, and F, 1, 2, 3. How many of you have heard of the Wellsville Mountains? We are going to label these on the map and then choose a new color to color them. So I'm going to turn my paper and I am going to write pretty small. I'm going to write the Wellsville Mountains, and I'm going to abbreviate mountains MTN because I don't have a lot of space on my map and I'm conserving that space. And when I think about the Wellsville Mountains, I think of them as being brown or green. So I'm going to find my brown. Oh, that is pink. I'm going to find brown. And I'm going to color the Wellsville Mountains brown. Okay, so the Wellsville Mountains are done. And then the mountains found in D4 and DE. So D4 and E4 right here are part of the Bear River Range. Label the area between Wellsville and the Bear River Mountain Ranges as Cache Valley. So this space between these two mountains is Cache Valley. And I'm going to, again, I'm going to turn my paper sideways, and I'm going to write Cache Valley on this line. Cache, and then I'm going to write Valley down below. Cache Valley. Then I'm going to turn my paper back, and we're going to cross that box off. Label the marsh, the Salt Creek Marsh, and choose a new color to color it. So here's the marsh. It's right there. And so I'm going to start way up here by this line, and I'm going to write Salt Creek Marsh. And I'm writing small, and I'm going to choose a green color to color the marsh. Like that. And cross it off. So we're going to label the capital city of Utah. Do you think you know what the capital city of Utah is? Well, it's Salt Lake City. So we're going to write Salt Lake City. So this legend tells us that the state capital is a little dot with a big dot. So we're going to label this big dot with a little dot, Salt Lake City. I'm going to write it down below. Salt Lake City. Notice how I'm not using huge letters. I'm using little tiny letters so that they fit in the space. Number 16 says in Cache Valley, label Logan near the city dot. So here's Cache Valley, and it's up here. This is the Logan dot. So we're going to put Logan right there. And then we're going to cross, oh, there's not a box there, so just write your own box and cross it off. Then label the city in D1 as Yost. So D1, oh, right here, see it? It's super tiny. So we're going to write Yost right there for that dot and cross it off. Label D3 as Preston. Cross it off. Label the dot in E6 as Fort Bridger. Ooh, I've been to Fort Bridger. Cross that off. In the south end of Cache Valley, label the city dot Paradise. So here's Cache Valley. Here's our compass, so we know the south is down here by the bottom of the page. So if this is Cache Valley, then we're looking at the dot that's on the south, and we're going to label that Paradise. And I'm going to turn my paper, and I'm going to write Paradise like that. Paradise as it comes down that way. And then cross it off. And the last city is Salmon, which is in A1. So way up here by the Salmon River is a little tiny dot, and that's Salmon. It's crazy. The word salmon has an L in it, but you don't say it. It's silent. Okay, so this is our first page of our Shoshone seasonal traveling. This is the area that the Shoshone people would travel in over one whole year. So we're going to turn our page over, and we're going to continue following part 2 with these directions. So read the directions to trace out the routes that the Shoshone used throughout the year. Choose one color pencil to draw all the routes. So routes or routes, you can say it either way. We're going to pull out our red colored pencil, and I'm also going to grab a ruler. If you don't have a ruler, you can use a piece of paper, and you can fold the piece of paper so that it's nice and straight. And then you can use the paper, this edge right here, as the ruler. Okay? So I'm going to use a ruler. If you need to, pause the video so you can go find one. You might want to get an adult to help you by reading these directions to you. It says the Shoshone traveled by foot and by horse through the area that you labeled on the map. They moved with the seasons. When different animals and plants were ready to be hunted or harvested. So in spring or summer, choose a colored pencil to mark the Northwest Band springtime travel. Find Cache Valley and color around the Paradise City dot. So I'm going to choose red, and I'm going to circle that Paradise City dot. There should be a box there, so you're just going to check that, create a box and cross it off if you want to. During spring and early summertime, the Northwest Band gathered seeds, roots, and berries in this area. They also spent time visiting with each other. During the late summertime, the Northwest Band harvested camomile roots and other plants. They also hunted small game such as rabbits. So that's in the spring and the summertime in Paradise. Autumn. Find Salmon, Idaho, which is way up here, and make a dot there, and use a ruler to connect those two dots together. So I'm going to take my red pencil again. I'm going to circle around the dot that has salmon in it, and I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm going to line up Salmon and Paradise. Now, if I didn't have a ruler, it would look like this, because I'm using the fold, and I would say, hey, there's Paradise down here, here's Salmon, and I'm just going to connect those with one line, just like that. So see how that works without having a ruler? So we just connected those two dots together. So in the early fall, the Northwest Band traveled the Salmon to fish. So think about August, right? While you're going back to school, 200 years ago, the Northwest Band of Shoshone would be traveling to Salmon to fish. After catching the fish, they would dry them and save them for winter. Then our next set of directions say, make a box at Fort Bridger in western Wyoming and connect Salmon and Fort Bridger. So here's Fort Bridger. I'm going to put a red circle around that dot, and I'm going to use my ruler, and I'm going to line it up with Fort Bridger. Whoops, I went around my fingernail. And connect. And then check it off. When the Northwest Band was done fishing, then they would move to western Wyoming, where they hunted large animals such as buffalo, deer, elk, moose, and antelope. These animals were very important. They provided food, clothing, tools, and shelter material for the band. This meat was also dried for storage, so think about September and October. This is where our Shoshone band could be found. Make a dot at Yost. Remember Yost way over here? Which is in northwestern Utah. Draw a line from Fort Bridger to Yost. So using my ruler, I'm going to put one edge over here on Fort Bridger, and then I'm going to swivel the other end by Yost, and I'm just going to draw a line straight through to Yost, just like that. And then let's read about Yost. The Northwest Band of Shoshone traveled all the way to western Utah for very important food, pine nuts. These nuts contain many nutrients. The Northwest Band used pine nuts in many ways. They made mush, cereal, and roasted snacks out of pine nuts. They would travel all the way out there to the western desert just for pine nuts. So then in winter time, as it's getting cold, we're going to make a dot at Preston, and we're going to draw a line from Yost to Preston. So we're thinking late November, December, January, and February. So we're going to make a dot that connects Yost to Preston. We did this one. We're right here. Yost to Preston. So again, I stick my ruler on Preston, swivel it so that it lines up with Yost, and we're going to draw a line right there. After gathering food for a whole year, the Northwest Band moved into the area near Preston and Franklin, Idaho. This area is full of willow trees and other plants that the band could use to make winter shelter. The band also used nearby hot springs. There are a lot of hot springs up here in this area. There are many hot spring resorts that you and your family can go visit today, and those hot springs are the same hot springs that the Shoshone people would have used in the winter time. Because the water is hot, the land doesn't freeze, and some plants are not frozen into the ground, so animals are there, and you can dig up roots there because the ground's not as frozen. So this area was very important to the Shoshone people during the winter time. So now our last set of directions say draw a line from Preston back to Paradise and the Avon area where you started. So not far away from Preston is another little town called Avon. So here's Preston, and here's Paradise, and we're just going to draw a line straight to there. When the weather turned warm again, the Northwestern Band returned to their spring and summertime areas in Cache Valley. Their traveling cycle began again. So, if you want to go the extra mile today, you can color the states individually, which means that you can choose another color that you haven't used, and you can color all of Wyoming, and then you would pick a different color that you haven't used, and you would color all of Utah, and you would pick a different color and you would color Nevada, and the same thing, you could color Idaho and Montana if you wanted to. That's just going the extra mile. But if you have done what I have done on this piece of paper, then you are finished. I miss you, and I can't wait to see you again. I hope that you guys are being good for your parents. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.